Boom. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Alt.Latino Live from your friends here at NPR Music. We're gonna round out our very special month of programming for Hispanic Heritage Month, Latino Heritage Month, however you want to self-identify. And we have a very, very special show. But before we get to our guests, I do want to remind you, okay, as usual, write to us. Where are you listening? Where are you watching and listening from? Okay, let us know. And also, if you have questions, put them in the comments, and we're going to try to get to them before the end of the conversation. And we have one more day of our El Tiny takeover of the Tiny Desk series. All right, one more day. We have Camila Cabello coming tomorrow. Be sure to watch it. Don't miss it. And also, let me fix myself. I'm all disheveled here. And then also, go back. We have 10 concerts, 10 performances rather, 8 different countries and cultures represented. Please go back and look. It's been an amazing series, if I do say so myself. I've been moved to tears on some of these things. So please go back and check them out. Don't forget to go back. And also, you can go back and look at some of the past Instagram Live interviews that we've had over the last month. Lots of great conversations. It's been a lot of fun, I got to say that. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in our guest. It's time for Felix to push this button and try to find, let's see. I'm going to find our guest. Request to join. Nope, it's not what we want. Okay, talk amongst yourself as I figure this out. You can watch this, NPR. Please don't write to request to join because that's going to slow down the process. What we want to do is bring in our guest. We have Tainy, the producer and artist Tainy, along with Julieta Vanegas this week. But I can't seem to find there's Julieta. And there's Tainy. What are they? There we go. All right. I did it. Figured it out.
Hey,
What's going on, gente?
how's it going?
Good to see you again. Both of you.
You too.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, it's great to see you. Hey, Tiny.
Hey, Julieta.
It's for the audience who are tuning in. We have Tainy and Julieta Venegas this week. Very, very excited. Tainy, we had a conversation with you about a year ago. Nice long conversation about a lot of different things. And Julieta, we actually had you on Alt.Latino years ago, right after we first started.
Yeah, I want to go again. Come on, invite me again. I want to go back. It's great.
We're going to do that again sometime real soon. But for now, we're here on Instagram Live. Thank you both for being here. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. Again, these are short conversations for part of the Hispanic Heritage Month. We want to just catch up with you guys. We've been talking a lot of different artists from different genres and different cultures and different music styles. A little bit of English, a little bit of Spanish. So what we want to do, again, people, tell us where you're watching from. And also, if you have questions, you can put it in the comments. The first thing we want to talk about is talk a little bit about this new single you guys have collaborated on. Tell us a little bit about it. Like who people already know they got Bad Bunny on there. Tell us about it. How did it come about?
So the song first started, I'm finally diving into working on my project, my personal project as a producer and producer artist. Just bringing everybody, into my world for this time and, trying to create something, that's where my creative space is at and, my ideas rather than just like putting whatever the artist wants to do in their projects into music. It's kind of like flipping it around. So this is the first track that I started working out because, I was talking to Benito, to Bad Bunny, and, he was available for a couple of days. So we went into the studio to just see what happens and see, because, he's a busy guy. So I wanted, to make the most out of that and, just take a chance to explain what I was doing, showing a couple of ideas. And this was the one that at first, like as soon as he heard it, it was, we knew it was the one that he wanted. So as he normally does, he just goes into the studio or his room. He just records, send the vocals next day, and it just like it felt like we already had like something special on it. And but since it's my project, I just want to work with amazing people, people that I've worked with or people that I haven't even worked with, but that I admire. And that's where Julieta Vanegas comes into the picture, because I'm a huge fan of her and everything that she's been doing. Huge inspiration for me, musically, artistically. And I just wanted to see, okay, let's see what happens if we reach out, because I felt the song has something that could resonate with her, because she plays the piano. Like, it has some chords that I know that with her vocals it would sound amazing. And I just sent it and see what could happen. And it was so amazing that when she heard, like, she loved it, and she was really into it. That to me was a dream. It was amazing. And that's where everything started falling into place. Like, seeing, I just sent her the piano and Bunny's vocals, no drums, no bass, just so she can like get the idea. And my message to her was, okay, what would be your version or your response to what this song is already? Because at the beginning it was going to be a sort of interlude after the song. And that's where she starts creating it and putting into Julieta's world. And little by little everything started coming together, and putting the pieces around. Bad Bunny, after he heard it, he went crazy, and he just wanted it to be the intro. And that's how we finally got the last product. But that's how everything started to fall into place from my side.
How about you, Julieta? What was your reaction, first of all, to get the call to collaborate, and then how did you feel about being part of it?
I loved it. I love the way Tainy reached out, and I really like the way he asked me to collaborate. Like, what do you think about this song? What would you say exactly? Like the way he's describing it, I just felt like that was such a fun way to go into it. Like, what would you answer this person? What would you answer what he's saying? Well, it's it's sort of like a story. And also, as Tainy said, it didn't have the beat in it yet, and so I just felt it was really emotional. I felt it emotionally, because the lyrics are talking about somebody who doesn't want to get involved, but it's more like because he's kind of scared about it. So it was sort of like, how would I answer somebody who says that? So it was cool, because I felt like I was going into a story and being able also to express the way I would say it, that I thought was just an amazing way to collaborate in the track.
What's really cool about it too is, I think you could safely say that you guys come from two different musical worlds, and that Tainy combination is the bridge that brought those two things together. And I think that one of the great things, I mean, besides it being a great song, and also it shows that the differences actually work together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it's great that there are differences, and it takes the producer to kind of like to have the vision to bring those two things together. That's what I really liked about it. And I gotta say, I was surprised to see the combination of artists. And when I heard it, I thought, of course, it makes total sense, right? Because it's expected, but it really, congrats to both of you and all three of you involved with the project, because it is so different that way. Did you guys have that feeling as you were making it?
I mean, yeah, like for me, as soon as I heard, like when she did her thing, like to me it was, bro, it was just like going crazy, because it just fits so perfect. And we didn't have to make like crazy changes or anything. It was just how it would, like how it felt, how it was supposed to be. And everything just flowed. And then when Benito listens to it and he wants to put it as the intro, because the song never had an intro at the beginning. I thought that was something that we were gonna like get back into, but this was just the missing piece for it. And it just flows so well together. And I think she doesn't compromise like who she is and how she sings or everything. She doesn't have to change anything. It's just Julieta being her and Benito being him. So that's what's special to me. Like, neither of them had to pretend to be something else, or like get out of their comfort zone and do something that's wrong, or everything just feels like true to them, but also it just combines super well together. So, you know, for me, it's amazing. That song is a dream to me, you know, to be able to be a part of, you know, that combination of two amazing artists and just creating an amazing song, storytelling, and, you know, it's just a special one. So I'm super happy. I'm happy that she's happy about it, that Benita was happy about it. So, you know, it's a great moment, you know, for us in music.
I want to get a little geeky about music and musicians, because we just talked about the role of the producer. And, you know, my perspective, I've been listening to music for a very, very long time. And I go back at some point in my education about music as a fan, I realized, like, you see certain names as producers on the back of album covers, you know, Quincy Jones, Phil Spector, you know, all the legendary names. And for years, I couldn't figure out, what does a producer do, right? And every producer is different, is what I discovered.
Yeah.
But at the same time, somebody like this project sort of reminds me of something like Quincy Jones would do back in the day, right? It's like he would bring together these different. He had, like, the jazz bass player Ray Brown playing on stuff that El Jarreau was singing on, or, you know, some of the younger R&B singers. Can you talk a little bit about, first of all, Tainy, talk a little bit about your role, your approach to being a producer? Do you have any of those past producers as mentors, heroes, people that you look up to?
I mean, my role has been, you know, evolving. Like, to this day, you know, I've been doing it since I'm 15 years old, and, you know, I'm now 32. So it's been a while, but I'm still learning. I'm still a student, and I think that's what's amazing, you know, about music, that I can keep, you know, learning every day. But at the beginning, you know, I started as a beat maker, like, not really, you know, knowing exactly what a producer was. I would just do my ideas, just give a CD with like 5 instrumental, and that's it. Like, that was my story on the, you know, on the song. And, you know, later, you know, being with other producers, like starting with Nelly and the Looney Tunes, and, you know, then, you know, getting more into like what music is, and, you know, learning about like how to go into sessions, and, you know, seeing documentaries and looking up to more people, like seeing the Neptunes, and, you know, Pharrell Williams being a huge influence for me, and seeing, you know, Quincy, and seeing, you know, Timbo, Scott Storch. Like, there's a lot of people that, you know, that I start to know what they're doing and how I can incorporate that into what I'm doing. And, you know, and now being more involved in the song, and being more of an orchestrator of, like, you know, bring my input and see where I can, like, help the song become better, and not, you know, be hesitant to talk to the artist, or to go into a session and create from scratch, and, you know, trying to bring the best out of him, or what, or her, what she wants to say, and do. So, you know, little by little, like, learning all those things. And how you mentioned, like, maybe I need a piano, and I'm not the best pianist in the world, but I know amazing pianists. So reaching out and, like, you know, trying to get the best out of, like, everybody and everything that we need for the song. It's been an amazing, you know, experience for me, and I keep learning it every day that I go into sessions. Working with different artists helps a lot too, you know, different genres, like, helps you, you know, dive into different types of process. You know, how I mentioned, I could still today give a, you know, a folder with like 5 ideas, and that's all the artist needs to work. But some of them want to go into the studio and grab a guitar and start, like, finding the right chords, and, you know, finding the right, you know, I want to talk about this, and, you know, little by little start building it up, and, you know, going all the way around. I already have this chorus. Where would you take this? And, you know, starting to come up with an idea for something that's already, you know, done melodically. So, you know, there's so many different processes and things that I've learned, you know, over the years, that I keep, you know, adding to my, you know, my way of going into music. But yeah, I just want to be able to help the artists bring, you know, the best that they have, what they want to say, and, you know, how to put it into music, and, you know, kind of orchestrate that, and, you know, be more involved, rather than just, you know, stay aside and just, like, hand out an idea or a beat, and you know, and that's it.
What about you, Julieta? You've been making music for a while,
Yeah.
in a good way. Like, mad respect for your history, going back to Tijuana. No, I mean, like, we've been following your music for a long time. You have an amazing catalog and body of work. What what do you look for? What have you looked for in a producer in the past? And how did you, how was this different than some of the other producers that you worked with in the past?
Well, I think that also Tainy invited me not only as a producer but as an artist because this is his album. So, and what you were saying before, and what he was saying about how each personality shows in the song and still it works. I think that's the magic of Tainy at work. You know, he's the one who thought like, hey, we have this. What about inviting her or stuff like that? No, but I mean, I'm more like an instrumentalist songwriter, and I think across all the stuff that I've ever done, this is what attracts me the most. The songwriting is really like my thing. I love songwriting. I've also done a lot of, I mean, I've also been like lyricist for different projects and stuff like that. I really like the songwriting part, you know, like and so when I work with producers, I just like first working on this, you know, what's going to be like those 10 or 12 songs that we're going to record. I mean, even if we don't release them together, whatever. I mean, until now, I've always released them together, but now I have a new album and I'm not sure how I'm going to release it yet, but I have to work on those songs, you know, those 10 songs all together and choose from all the songs that I've been writing in the last few years. And that work was like, I think most of the work that we did was that, you know, like really working on that repertoire, what, you know, every song has like its own part. And we really like went through that. And after that, I think that to me is really important. But then also, I mean, I have to talk about this album because it's the one that I've had, like the one that I'm just finishing now. I worked with a friend who's a great producer. He's also an artist, and so it was kind of at first I didn't think about working with him, but he was like, I just wanted to show him my songs and ask him if he thought that maybe I was ready to think about an album. And he like, yeah, and you know, I'd love to work with you. So, you know, we did the album together. And that was great. Also working with friends, you know, I guess Tainy knows about that, like working with friends, you know, being in the studio with people you admire and they're, you know, that you have like, you trust and you know that you can say anything you feel it maybe can be fixed. You can, you know, you have a good vibe and a good energy and good chemistry, you know, to work.
And I mean, going back in your recorded history, were there any producers or any other collaborators where like you could feel, okay, well, this isn't going to work, or maybe, yeah, this is really good, and I know this. Can you feel it? I guess what I'm trying to say is, can you feel it as soon as you start working that everything's going to fall in place?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always felt like I've always worked a lot with my intuition, and I always work on the demos before I go into the studio. So I kind of go as far as I can go, but I've just never been into producing. I'm just not like a producer head, you know. I don't go in there and know like. So I always like to work with someone else's, especially also because all the digamos como el proceso anterior, all the creative process is usually done. I do it by myself. I do the songwriting. I do like. I'll you know go as far as I can go, and then I work with a producer, and that's always worked for me because I like collaborating and I like what happens when you put two minds together instead of, you know, just one. So, and also I don't think I have like a producing head, you know. I like it. I like listening to production, but I mean, now I've just recorded I don't know what number of albums, and you know, if you ask me about a rack and, you know, like the preamp, which is your favorite preamp, I have no clue. You know, it's like I have no idea. I can talk about maybe a little bit about synths because I love them and I can play whatever and everything, but and I kind of know what I want to hear sometimes, but I also like to see what happens when I go into with someone who really knows, like, you know, what can happen if we mix this with this, and we can just try stuff out. I love trying stuff out, you know, all the time.
You know, the more I learned about the role of record producers, you know, in all genres, you know, I listen to a lot of jazz, right? And so that has a specific role. Some of the producers, like the old R&B, the Stax and the Motown producers, everybody has a different role. But this is kind of a crazy metaphor, but I have a friend who can walk into a house and look around and say, you know what, this is how I'm going to change this house, right? People who go in and flip this, you know, like redesign houses. It's like a different kind of mind. They go in and say, okay, we'll tear this wall down. We're going to build this over here. We're going to extend this. they can see it as soon as they walk in, right? The mind thinks that way. And that's what being a record producer reminds me of, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can hear things. They hear things that we don't hear. They imagine things that we don't. And I guess as an artist, you just like, okay, I see that. I see a place for myself in your vision, right? So then you go along. I mean, is that sort of, am I off the mark? Because I've always wanted to ask a producer if that's an apt metaphor.
No, that's a good one. I mean, I never thought about it like that, but it does work. Like I can't really tell you how my mind or how other producers' mind like gets into that zone and start coming up with so many ideas by the circumstances or the artist or what the goal is. Like I think it comes with experience, being able to navigate, grab inspiration from different parts, and you just see this and you start like having all those thoughts coming to mind. Like, this reminds me of this. Like, if I combine this with this, that's never like, I never heard this before. This could be something, special, and let's just try it out. And sometimes how Julieta says, like, it's the same for me. I just like trying stuff and seeing what happens. And sometimes it's horrible. Sometimes it's amazing. Like, but at least you try it. And, that's the special part, because you never know what can happen when you start merging and, combining different things and experimenting. So that's the cool part, and music, this, everything's been done, but, you can keep, combining and grabbing from those things that have already been done. And, how can we interpret that in a new way, nowadays? And, with so many things that keep coming up, new equipment, new synthesizers, old school, like more instrumentation, like there's so many combinations and things that you can, explore. And that's a, exciting part of, music for me. And, I'm so excited that we're like at this moment right now where things like this combination can, really happen.
Before we change the subject, I want to go back to this whole idea of producing. Quincy Jones, in his autobiography and his memoirs, he talked about how he had all of the success with like Count Basie, Frank Sinatra, all this jazz stuff. Like he was like at the top of his thing. And in the jazz world, in the big band world and all that. And he got a job with Mercury Records in the 60s to start developing pop music, right? And so he said he was a little bit arrogant. He went into the gig thinking, oh, I can make pop music, man. Anybody can do that. So yeah. he had a meeting with the owner of the record label. And he said, yeah, what can you do? He says, well, it's not going to be hard to do. And the guy says, well, get busy. That's discovered how difficult it was to try to find the right artist, to find put all the elements together. It was so much different than being a jazz arranger and all that stuff. And that was, and his first attempts, didn't work, right? Nobody's ever heard of him because and then he goes on to become one of the greatest of all time. But it just shows how, like, every instance is different. Every circumstance is different. And that's why when a track like this comes out so well, just so perfectly, like it was meant to be, it's mad respect for everyone involved in the process. I just say that because we're geeking out here, people, on Instagram. We're just geeking out on music. That's what happens when we get together.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate that.
So okay, so before we go, because these are very quick interviews, we're just touching bases, catching up. Julieta, tell us a little bit more. You've got a new record coming out. Are you out touring? What's that like right now?
Yeah, I'm going to do a tour here in the US in November. And I might play a couple of new songs, but the album is going to the first single is going to come out until next year, around March. We're already working on it. We're almost ready with it and with the video, and we're doing that whole part, and we're going to do it before the year ends, but then we're going to release it next year. And that, after that, we're going to go to Alt.Latino. We're going to start touring a little bit more next year. Hopefully whenever, everything opens up, But this year, the US, we're going to do like 9 dates here in the US.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. That's good to know. You have a lot of fans here, man. A lot. And what about you, Tainy? What's happening? What's happening with you next?
So with me, you guys saw the first, part of it. Thank God, it's been a long time planning to get to this point, but right now it's just getting the rest of it done. And it's a amazing, cool, experience and process that I'm enjoying every second, but at the same time it's a lot of work. Because it's my project, but I'm not singing, so I need the artist, to come and bring those lyrics and those melodies and everything to life. And everybody has their schedule, everybody has a million things to do, everybody's touring right now too, so it's been a little hectic trying to get in the room or like send files and get them back, because everybody's doing their own thing, and I depend on not just one artist doing their album, but 10, 15 plus. So it's been a little bit of work, but I'm enjoying it little by little, getting all those pieces together so I can make a project that feels whole, feels complete, and bring at least hopefully soon we can hear the second track from it, and keep bringing that even closer to the finish line. But yeah, I think I'm just like concentrating all of this time to that, because I wanted to make it perfect.
I can't thank you both enough for, because it's like I said, if somebody wanted to take a snapshot of where we are in this moment in Latin music, in terms of the vitality, in terms of the creativity, in terms of the chance taking, they would see you two and the single and Bad Bunny and your album and all of that stuff. I mean, this is really spectacular. I'm gushing because I'm just so impressed by it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and you guys, we've each talked before. You're welcome back to Alt.Latino anytime. Let's get together. Let's do it again. If you're coming through DC, we'll hang out. We'll get you in the studio, music again. We'll geek out again.
Yay!
Love it.
I'm there.
Thank you so much to Tainy, Julieta Vanegas, and thank you to everybody watching. Again, be sure to check out our final Tiny Desk tomorrow with Camila Cabello. That's going to close out our Hispanic Heritage Month special series. It's not going to end. We're going to move forward. We got a lot more to do. Got to think about the people that are on the screen with me right now. We got stuff to do. We have lots more music to present. So it's not going to stop. We're just going to build on this momentum. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for supporting Latin music, for supporting Alt.Latino, and for watching and participating on the stuff that we're doing on the NPR music site. So thank you all. Tainy, Julieta, thank you so much for joining us, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, we'll talk again. So long, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.